close that and to return to our council
So moved.
special session. We have a motion by Ms. Andrus and a second by Mr. Wyatt. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so we are back to our special call work session tonight. We have one item, and I apologize for taking all of the time. 010220 request for updates on Green Springs revitalization. Mr. Squires has your lovely name on this item. I wonder why, but so why don't you give us an update? And certainly, sir, if we need to come back for another day, we can do that. I know there may be some folks that weren't here today anyhow, but
Since you took so long, I mean, we probably, I'm kidding. What I wanted to do, I asked Clark and Kurt to come, and I talked with Patrick and Andy earlier, as well as JJ. Pretty much the plans that we've been through and showed in the public forums kind of are pretty much as is and the same. The things that I think I wanted Clark to kind of highlight for you guys tonight is some of the things we are looking at that we are having to get some information from AlDOT as well as a little bit within Birmingham is basically being able to have a walking / biking or something that will connect basically from the walking trail across over all the way to Broadway and then all the way up through Valley. And there's a couple of options that we're looking at, but some of the effects of the Valley, if you're coming from the Full Moon side and coming to turn right and go to Birmingham, some of that is in Birmingham. So Clark can kind of go through a little bit with you and just kind of show you. And at that point, after that, once we get to that, I think our next thing will be just to kind of show you guys these are the pictures and the drawings of it, and you guys give us any feedback you have after that. And then pretty much from that point, I know from Berry Road to Raleigh, Chuck Kelly and I, who's working with Clark and them on this, will be discussing the landscaping, because we'll probably this fall begin doing some of that removal of the 24-foot junipers that are lining Green Springs and all through there. So just kind of an update to you guys where we're at. I'm going to let Clark take it from here. If you got any questions, we'll take them at the end of it. So thank you.
Good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. Thank y'all for coming. Yeah, like Berkeley said, just kind of give y'all an update. We're right at about 60% design plans on the Green Springs improvements. And I hope everyone's pretty familiar with the graphics. These are the same ones that are on the website. And apart from some very minor changes, kind of what you see is where we're at. And I'll highlight a few of those things. But I figured these would be easier to look at than full construction documents. But yeah, on this drawing, one of the items right now that we're kind of spending a little extra time to explore is the sidewalk connection from Broadway to try and get us along this eastern side of Green Springs across down and across Lakeshore. Right now, as you know, there's only a sidewalk on the western side. So if you're coming from kind of the Edgewood area and you come down the sidewalk, you then have to take a few crosswalks to get across the other side, go down, cross Lakeshore, cross the bridge to come over and get to the Lakeshore Trail. And I think one of our goals is to start finding additional connection there on that east side. And one of the challenges, which is kind of off the page on this drawing, is the creek that runs next to Green Springs. And the closer you get down to Lakeshore, it gets really close to the road. And so we're evaluating with the engineering team. We're evaluating, can we fit a sidewalk and or path along Green Springs in a safe way that doesn't impact that slope and jeopardize drainage and erosion, but also gets our connection there. I think, of course, the other piece of that is always the cost associated with it. Yeah, I mean, the answer to any engineering issue is always yes, but but that always comes at a cost. And so things get real expensive when you're dealing with slopes. And so we're exploring a couple options that we've done elsewhere to try and make that connection. and then evaluating if that can be included in this phase or that's a later phase. So with Lakeshore being an outlet roadway, that requires some coordination with them, and we're still waiting on some information there. The main highlight, though, on the existing plans at this one is just the crosswalk improvements at the intersection, tightening it up. It's not a pleasant place to cross today, and so this will make it a lot better pedestrian crossing without really affecting the vehicle operations. So if we go to the next one. This is the intersection of Green Springs at Raleigh, and the design plans do show mainly about what you see here with some minor adjustments. One of those important pieces, you'll see we're able to finally get the crosswalk across Green Springs there at Raleigh, which kind of makes a really good connection to connect Edgewood to West Homewood. One of the changes that has happened, though, is that Raleigh Avenue approach on the west side, we've been able to get 2 lanes in there, so you get kind of a short right turn lane. I know that's been an issue for a lot of vehicles. You get one car wants to go straight or left, and it blocks a lot of people wanting to turn right. So that'll be a big improvement there. We can kind of jump to the next one. The Raleigh Avenue approach? Yeah. Just the road there. Instead of, there's extra asphalt width, and we're able to just use some restriping. Oh, sorry. I like to talk to people. Yeah, so in between that's an existing concrete island, that triangle. Right. It's in between there and the existing curb. We can just basically just restripe right there, and we're able to get a short second right turn lane. Second lane coming towards Green Springs there. So this is the next one right there at McDonald's. Nothing's really changed here. The median there to the right of the sheet, I think we're exploring and getting closer to being able to have kind of a green stormwater feature, a bioswale to help with some of the water. There's an existing storm inlet there in the middle of the road. So we're able to utilize that, and it'll be a neat feature. You can jump to the next one. This is Carr, and not a lot of changes here either. Are getting the crosswalk in there, as well as some of the access management items. We can keep going, and feel free if you all have questions to stop.
Ms. Andrews?
Clark, I was going to ask you about bike lanes,
Yeah.
and also I had someone email a question about buffered bike lanes, if that was
Yeah.
an option. So could you talk a little bit
Yeah,
about that?
I should have covered that. So it's a little hard to see, but our cross section through the whole corridor is 2 vehicle travel lanes in each direction, just like we have today. We have either a median or a turn lane, depending on where you are in the middle. And then outside of that, because the road is very wide, we've been able to get a full 5-foot bike lane, and then it does pinch down in some of the intersections. But in a lot of, if you pan to the left, you'll see we do have, keep going. There we go. There is a buffer, which is just some space between the vehicle travel lane and that bike lane. So it creates a little sense of the safety, and one of the things we're looking at is some sort of it wouldn't be a full barrier, but we have like the flex post and some other options to place inside that buffer to help delineate that space. And if someone's riding their bike, they feel a lot safer, and the cars are a lot more aware of that. So yes, that's kind of the full cross section. And it certainly has areas where it pinches down and maybe we lose our buffer or we got to share it with our right turn lanes, but for the most part, it's been a really good kind of free addition just with the restriping in there.
Can I ask, Clark, how much is the right-of-way there?
The right-of-way, so the right-of-way spans, if you're looking at that aerial, really kind of a little past the sidewalk on either side. I think we are, I don't know the number off my head, top of my head, maybe 120 feet. About 100 of that is asphalt today. So that's that big wide section with the 16-foot center turn lane that just feels like a runway out there.
We're cutting some of that down. I mean, We're picking
Yep.
that somewhere.
So it's just, there's extra width in the middle of the road. Our curbs are not moving. The curbs are staying exactly where they are, which saves a lot of money. We don't have to move drainage structures. But today, there's already a 5-foot shoulder, or 3 or 4 foot shoulder. Our lane widths are going from 12 feet to 11 feet. And then our median, the existing median varies, but at some places it's 16 to 20 feet wide. We just don't need that much space. And so we're able to kind of reallocate the widths there to give us the same amount of vehicle lanes, but then have those nice bike lanes in there too.
Clark? Should I ask on the first slide, but where you're trying to get the sidewalk on the east side down by Broadway to Lakeshore, do you anticipate, if you're able to do that, do you anticipate any issues from AlDOT once we get to Lakeshore, adding another crosswalk there at that intersection?
Potentially. I mean, it's really up to them. There's an existing one already crossing there. And so theoretically, usually the biggest impact it'll have at an intersection is making the timings, kind of messing with them. But because we already have one, we're not really having we're just piggybacking on the existing one too. So that shouldn't be a major issue.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the Publix intersection, and well, the median opening just to the left of Publix, that will only be put in place for that's going to be emergency access only for the potential future fire station there. And so the exact location of that is still a little bit in question of where that would be, and then it would just be to get in and out for the fire trucks. And then moving to the right, you'll see this is the main intersection of Publix, and we're lining it up with the shopping center across the way to make that kind of the place where you turn left in and out of those two places. I know you've experienced that today. There's a lot of close calls and things that you may encounter with cars turning left and right every which way. So we're trying to kind of organize that into a single place where each driver has a better understanding of what the other driver is doing and can make safer situation. And then if we go to the next drawing, which is just on the other side, and you start to there in the middle, you'll see the other Publix entrance, that one closest to Oxmoor, it's just to the left, is today you can turn left in and out of there, and that creates a lot of issues, and we've talked to our police department, and even a number of crashes there as well. So that will become a right in, right out, and all the left turn traffic will go to that main entrance. But that also gives us a little more space for our left turns from Green Springs onto Oxmoor, and it will improve the operations there at that signal.
Is that corner site getting access to both Oxmoor and Green Springs Valley and cut off?
The corner, that empty lot,
The corner that's on the same side that's on the northeast corner, southeast corner there.
southeast, okay, where Los Veladores, a great taco truck, is located? Sorry. Shameless plug for a place I enjoy. Right now, we are maintaining that existing access there, just because that's what's there today. I don't have any, nothing is, I don't have knowledge of things changing there, so it's, that existing access is staying because we have to keep it, but as you can see, there is a raised, very small median, we call it a curb between the left turn lane there, so it would prevent the left turns in and out from the Green Springs access. I think that lot has an access there on Oxmoor that acts a little bit more like a full access for them.
Don't kill me for asking you this. The coming left, the driveway that you're able to turn left out of Publix and you lined up with the driveway across the street, is that ever a future light, traffic light?
Right there or on the sheet before?
The sheet before, yeah.
It could be considered. The spacing would be really tight between the Oxmoor signal and the car signal, which they can kind of back up into each other, and you get kind of that gridlock feel. But it certainly could be a potential. I don't think it's necessary right now based on the traffic counts we have. It doesn't kind of suggest the thresholds we need. You know, for Publix at least, you do have that. If you really need a signal, you can use the car and come in that back road. But it's certainly something that I'm open to exploring in the future, and we can do all the analysis of whether or not that would be needed later on. And the good thing is with this construction, it's set up better, lines up to accommodate that type of movement. Today, the way they're offset, it would be an extremely inefficient signal and difficult to implement. Moving up Green Springs, north of Oxmoor, you have Old Columbiana. Really big improvement here is the sidewalk connectivity, moving up, adding some of that greenery. We're maintaining most of the access. We have really good interconnectivity between our developments on either side and the back frontage of Old Columbiana on the east side that help a lot there. And then as we continue up the hill to the next one, just not a lot going on here. Just where we have kind of unused center lane, we're able to put in that opportunity for some trees and greenery and beautification. And then I think the last one's the final one at Valley. And this is really where the city limits of Homewood end and Birmingham begins. And so this is a piece we're working on right now as well. Just like down at Lakeshore, we're having to coordinate with AlDOT. We're having to coordinate with the city of Birmingham here because they have carried a sidewalk all the way down to almost the intersection, and we would like to, have that full connectivity with ours. So we're going to coordinate them with that little piece that's just to the right of the intersection on the drawing, or just to the north of Valley. There's that one piece of sidewalk that's actually in the city of Birmingham, but would be needed for our connectivity there. So we're reaching out and talking to them about being able to do that and kind of complete that connection there.
What about a space there for an entryway? I know as a liaison to the beautification board, that's something that, we've been looking at as far as every entry point into the city.
Right.
How can we make that how can we mark that?
Sure. I mean, we would need to probably keep that on the right of way. And it does have some tight spaces, but we can look at where are some areas that we potentially have enough room to put in either some signage or a gateway feature. I would assume it would be on either corner, either there at the bank corner or that one Walgreens right there, and be able to find a place within there.
In the past, when we were talking about the gateways way back when, I'm pretty sure that if the bank, that the corner by the bank was where they kind of identified.
Yeah.
I think the bank said,
Sure.
so, yeah, that's.
Yeah, it would take a little more coordination with them. So you can see we have some trees planned there. We would need to plan around them.
Yeah, can we start that conversation?
Sure.
I'd like to. Berkeley, is that okay with you? It's Berkeley.
Yeah, I think the one thing you gotta look at, Jen, is this thing.
Mark, come to the microphone. That's my job, Jay.
And kind of, and what Clark's referring to, Jen, is right here on this right corner is kind of having some type of landing spot for bikers, runners, or stuff like that that's right there now. And I want to say over on the Regions Bank side, we have a lot of right-of-way on that side over there.
Yeah, we give them permission.
Yeah, we actually work with them to give them permission to landscape. I would say this, for us to kind of have, I would say better in trying to do what we're looking at, depending on whether or not Birmingham, allows us, and Clark, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's kind of going to be the place where it would kind of develop into what we call a landing zone for bikers or whoever. If they want to continue on, they can. If not, then they can end it there and turn and come back. But that side, I would say, depending on what they would allow us to do, I think we'd probably be more inclined to look over on the region side over there and see if there's something we could do at that point. But again, like Clark said, when we look at all of it while we're still doing it, so.
I think that's the reason for
And we could just do, it could be a
Yeah.
call one like the one that's on Hollywood Boulevard.
No, that's
or,
fine.
You know,
Yeah,
just with
I
this.
think while we're doing this, we can look at that as well. Yeah, well,
Well, no, I was gonna, I just had a few questions, but I wanted to finish this conversation before. Mine are related to other things.
That's generally, that's the update. This is kind of the end of the project upper limit, and, you know, the last piece there was that coordination with Birmingham, which is currently ongoing, but, you know, I think.
Okay,
overall
then I just had a couple quick questions. Is there going to be any type of signal upgrades at any of the intersections? I couldn't remember. So, you know, when you turn off of Oxmoor onto Green Springs, you're not in the right light. You know what I mean? When you're you're not configured straight,
Right.
and
So-
a lot of people pull out when they're not supposed to.
I think I know it. We're not going to be able to fix the alignment or change any of the alignment at Oxmoor as you're talking about as you're crossing and you're kind of like your lane shifts. Our construction is not that intense to be able to change that here. I can add that to, we can look at the signal head placement and see if shifting any of them
That would be
would
helpful.
help kind of line people up and visually feel better. The other part with the signals, we are going to be upgrading them with the pedestrian features, especially where we're putting the crosswalks in.
Okay.
Don't want to put the crosswalk in and then not have a signal for the pedestrians, so. And then, yeah, I mean, I think we'll want to, towards the end of this, explore timing changes as well, because the last time this corridor was timed, it was done by AlDOT, from AlDOT's perspective, and so there may be, you know, a more Homewood fitted.
And can we take the Cobra
timings.
lights down?
They're working, Robert's working on that. Perfect. So those are in the make.
I ask
So,
about it every time.
Ms. Wright, anything else?
All right, anyone else have any other, for tonight? Mr. Wolverton?
Yeah, are you able to pull up the very last slide real quick, Brian?
Can you turn on the very last slide? So I'm just, that bottom, oh, where is it?
That's it.
Okay. The bottom kind of left, oh, there you go. Bottom left quadrant, by Walgreens there. Walgreens itself is Birmingham, correct?
Yes.
But the right-of-way for the sidewalk is ours, is that right?
No,
Right there?
I don't believe.
Where there's some planters and stuff drawn in at the bottom?
Down here, on the bottom?
Yeah, on the bottom, on the
Southeast corner. No, that's Birmingham.
Okay, so,
All of that.
yeah, where Brian's kind of bringing the cursor, right there.
Yeah, if you're gonna turn right to go to Birmingham
Yeah.
off of Valley, that whole section right in there to the right is Birmingham.
So that sidewalk technically is Birmingham already too there? Okay.
We have the roadway. The roadway goes, I believe, to where the old Pizza Hut used to be.
Right up at the top, yeah.
But the actual right-of-way there is Birmingham. What we're trying to do is connect with them.
Right, to where they've connected the
It's their
sidewalk.
right-of-way
Fit
right
that
there.
little gap, the sidewalk.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Does Birmingham have money in a budget to do work with us?
I think the intention here would be that this small piece of sidewalk would be constructed as part of this project with their permission.
Okay. I
Because-
mean, obviously, we can't do it on there.
I seriously doubt they do.
But if you can go get it, John, we would.
Yeah, I'll work on
appreciate that.
that, Berkeley.
All right, anyone else, any questions? No, Berkeley, I know we cut you off. Are you?
Right now, we're okay. We're still waiting to, and moving forward on some of these others.
All
At
right.
that point in time, I'll
Just
reach
communicate
out
back
if
to
we
us.
wanna
All
go
right,
back.
so we won't reschedule another
No,
work session,
I think
even though we
tonight-
severely
I think we got
shortchanged you
enough
tonight, so my apologies to you.
No, that's
I
fine.
know you understand.
Quick question,
All right,
timeline?
yes, Mr. James?
How about a timeline to construction?
Yeah, the goal is to be, you know, finish plans, early fall and be ready for construction thereafter, time for bidding and everything, so hopefully under construction before end of the year.
Again, we'll move forward on the landscaping from Berry to probably to at least Raleigh, probably a month or two before that. That's kind of ongoing right now, because I mean, it's just removal of stuff and then planting some trees during the fall when the season's, you know, more adequate for it, so. That's all we got.
Just
Thank you.
one other
All
quick
right.
one, sorry. So just, you mentioned a couple different options for delineating the bike lane from the regular lanes, and I know we saw the paint on the ground, but what, I guess, in my opinion, you know, the more delineation, the better, probably. You know, there are people that go pretty quickly through there. So what kind of options are there? And
Yeah, I mean, the standard option is the white plastic flex posts.
Sure.
So they're
Yeah.
not the world's most beautiful item, but they are effective.
Sure.
I think the discussion really moves there is less about the cost. There will be a cost to implement.
Sure.
It won't be insignificant on the project, but really the maintenance effort.
Right.
Because they do get hit, they do
Right,
fall
right.
down, they do need to be replaced. And so I think we need to make that decision. There are some other more, artsy options and things, but it's always a maintenance.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think we need to plan accordingly. And they're very easy to put in afterwards and later as well.
And I guess that was part of what I was wondering is, do you curb it? Is that, because that's a more visual, or not a visual, but a more physical barrier, but
Yeah, I mean, the physical
I would
barrier.
assume less easier to break
Right.
than the posts
Yeah,
are.
so putting in some sort of raised curb feature, I think on this project, not only is it going to create, it's going to push the limits of our budget beyond really, I think, what we can handle right now, but also we have so many driveway cuts
Sure,
that it would almost be ineffective, where
Sure,
it's just
sure.
going to be pockets here and there.
gotcha.
So I think right now, the best way to go is more like the flex post route.
And that's all. I didn't know if the flex posts were comparable or less expensive than the other, so, yeah, okay, cool, thank you.
Thank y'all.
All right, thank you. All right, so we'll adjourn the special called work session for tonight.